Hello, students. I would like to give you a summary, a demonstration of how to do summary statistics in Excel. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. If I just zoom in, that makes it bigger. Whoa! No, that's a little bit better. I hope. Hopefully, you can see that a little bit better. One of the things that you come across first is that the typically when you get a data set, oftentimes it's in an older version of Excel, and it will say that up here at the top. It'll say compatibility mode in the very top. That means that your software, I mean the spreadsheet that you're looking at is in an older version of Excel, and some of the features that we use are not available in the older versions, and then so they just won't run. To keep the file compatible, Excel won't do what you need to do. So one of the first things you need to do, especially if you're in this compatibility mode, is save it again. And so save as, but here under the file type, instead of Excel 97 to 2003, you want to change it just to a regular plain old Excel, the XLS X, that very first option there, and so you want to resave it as that, and I'm going to change the name of it here a little bit. I'll add a new to the end of it, but you want to change the format to that XLSX format before any of the features will show up. And it still shows up that it's still in compatibility mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this file, and then I'm going to reopen the file, and it should show up right there in your recents as something that you just looked at under your File Explorer, sorts of things. And now it doesn't have compatibility mode at the top, and so now it's back into the regular format, back into the format that we want to use, the latest version of Excel, which has all sorts of good things. Okay, so this was one of the problems from the homework, and we were supposed to be comparing the cholesterol level, the distribution of cholesterol level between different age groups. We have people in their 30s, their 20s, and their 20s, their 30s, or their 40s. And so their group things are listed here in this column, and then to the right of that is the cholesterol level. So to do the summary statistics, I want to group all the 20s together, all the 30s together, and so forth. And the best way that I found to do that is, and some of you might be more proficient in Excel to be able to pull those out. But what I want to do is I want to create two new columns over here, 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I want to take all the 20 data and put it in the first column, and all the 30 data put it in the second column, and all the 40s data is in the third column. And what I'm going to do is highlight those two columns, to select them. I'm going to go over to Sort and Filter, and I want to choose a custom sort. And what I want to do is I want to sort by group, and let's just do A to Z. It's recognizing that as text and not numbers, but we want to do A to Z. And just to add an extra level, that would be enough, but I'm also going to do cholesterol from smallest to largest. I'm going to sort that as well. I do have the data, my data has headers blocks because I don't want to really include that top row there. So check that or don't check that depending on whether or not it's highlighted in there. And then you say OK, and boom, it's gone through and it's sorted everything in the 20s to start with, and anything in the 30s and anything in the 40s. You can leave it like that if you want, but I find it's a little bit easier just to pull it out and put it in another column. So I'm going to go over here and highlight all these 20s, and there's a lot of data in this data set. So I'm going to scroll down until I run out of 20s. It's going to take a while. I think there's close to 1,000 value. Oops, I went to the 30s. So let me go back here to the end of the 20s. Somewhere down here is the end of the 20s. Oh, there it is. There it is, cell 960, 965 or something like that. So I'm going to Control C to copy that. And then I'm going to go put it up here all the way back at the top. Here, I'm going to paste that. Control V to paste that data there. Again, I could have left it all in the column, but then you've got to adjust your cell rows again. So now I'm going to go grab all the 30s data, do the same sort of thing. Where's the 30s data? There's the 30s data. So start it here at 107. Highlight all the 30s data. And then I'm going to copy and paste it into that other column again. And somewhere here, 30s, still more 30s. More 30s. There's like over 3,000 data points. Whoops, then I switched to the 40s somewhere. And gotta go find the last one here. There's the last one. Control C to copy. And then all the way back up to the top. All the way back up to the top. Yeah, this might be faster to grab the slide bar on the side. All right, and then Control V. And let me make sure, the last one was a 357, and I hope I didn't, it looked a little funky there, like I might have missed it. I just want to make sure that I got them all here real quick. There's a little bit fewer measurements here of the 30s, but not a whole lot fewer. And almost there. Yep, 357. I had two 357s at the very bottom. Okay. So now let's go down here and grab the 40s data. And somewhere down here, we'll get to the 40s. We'll copy and paste again, put it there back in that other column. Make sure everything's in its own column. It makes, if you need to make a graph, it's a lot easier if they're all in their own column in there. Okay, there's the data. Yep, ends with two 357s. All right, and then the 40s. We'll grab the 40s. And more data. Lots and lots of data here. But working with large data sets is good for you. I mean, you're gonna come across, real life has lots of very big data sets, sorts of things. A lot of times in a class, you're just given a small amount of data just to kind of go through the motions to kind of learn the material. But since we're doing a lot of things with computer programs, it's just as easy to do a fairly large data set because that's a little bit more realistic for the work environment that we're looking at there. All right, copy, paste that, Control V to paste that there into the 40s column. All right, now that I've got it there, what I can do, there's a couple of different ways to find the summary statistics. One is you can just use commands. So let's make a little table. Let's find the average, standard deviation, the minimum, the maximum. How about minimum? Let's do Q1, the quartiles, Q1, the median, Q3, and the max. Those are kind of our standard measures of center. The mean is actually the average. I'm going to correct that and make it say mean there. And then we will find those summary statistics there. 20s, we'll do one for each one, 30s and 40s. And so the mean, the command is to use as average. So if I do equals average, and then I can select all this data here. We'll grab all that stuff again. Again, so you didn't have to sort this out if you're using these commands. You could just, too far. You could grab out of your column that you have over here to the left if you want to, but it's a little bit easier to do it the other way. Standard deviation is STDEV is typically the standard deviation. If you have another one, it's also giving you the option of STDEV. If you also want to do that one, it'd be the .S one. But STDEV gives you the standard deviation of your group. Whoops, I want to do my 20s here. And actually, I can maybe type that a little bit faster. If I took note, it was like A2 to A, I can't remember, 300 or something like that. What's the ending value? Oh, it's D2 to D3, 960. D2 to D960. D2 to D960. And that captures that group again. Min parenthesis D2 column D960. Once I know that range, it makes this a little bit easier. Quartile. Now there's a couple of different quartile functions here. I want to do this first one, this quartile.exe. What that one is that excludes the median. If you D9, I think I've got the wrong number there. Oh, yep, you got to give it a range, and then you got to tell it what quartile you want. I want the first quartile, so I'm going to do comma 1. Did I get that? 960, so I need to end at 960 here. 960. And then this one's going to be the exact same command, quartile, this .exe one, and it is D2 to D960, and I want the third quartile, so I want to follow it up with a 3. All right, define the median. You've got sort of two choices. You can do median of D2 to D960 in there, and that will give you the median of the list. Or you could also use quartile with the number 2 in there, and this should be the max of D2 to D960. All right, so you got your mean, the standard deviation, and then your 5-number summary, the minimum, the quartile, first quartile, the median, and the third quartile in there. All right, once I've got those in, so the first time it's kind of a pain to type all those out, but I can do the drag over to copy those formulas over. It automatically adjusted the rows, but I do need to check on the range here. The 30s didn't go all the way to 960. The 30s were in the E column, and they ended at, it wasn't 960, it was a little fewer than that. What's that bottom cell here? Yeah, it's a little bit closer. They end at, there they ended. They end at 947. So 947 is what I want for the 30s. So I need to change these so they end at 947. And this ends at 947. And This ends at 9:47. These values aren't changing at all, which is kind of a good thing. So it makes me think that Excel is ignoring the blank ones that we have at the end. 9:47. So that might make our life a little bit easier, that it automatically ignores any cells with nothing in it. That is a good thing. It's not, you got to be careful about that. Sometimes it'll count, some programs will count them as 0, but it looks like those empty cells are doing what we need them to do. All right, and then the 40s, where did the 40s end? Let me go down here to, there's where the 40s ended. The 40s ended at 1040. So I want my cells to here all end at 1040. So 1140. 1140. And these will change a little bit. 1140 because I'm adding in numbers that I was ignoring previously. 1140. What's wrong with that? Okay. Not trying to top a formula. Oh, I missed the F. Okay, I forgot the F at the top. F. There we are. 1140, 0. 1140. So with the quartiles again, you have to tell it which number that you want at the end. 1140. Okay. And so you can reference those cells and you can get the 5-number summary plus the mean and the standard deviation from the three groups there as well. All right, so that's kind of handy to doing it here in Excel. Of course, you also have the option to make charts of these things. The nice thing about having them organized in the 3 areas, that if you want to insert a chart, you can just highlight the columns, and the statistics chart should be available now, and we'll do box and whisker, I guess, and it gives us the 3 box and whisker charts for the different cholesterol levels in there. It seems like we have some outliers in each of those groups, but there's some questions about the trends that you see between those 3s for the 20s. I think the blues are in the 20s. Let's see if there, we'll change the format a bit so we can see 20s, 30s, and 40s for the various groups. We've got outliers with the upper circles there in there, but you can make some observations there about that chart as part of your homework question there that you have. Okay, so it's not too bad. If you have a smaller data set, it's a little bit easier, but the commands that you want to use are average, will give you the mean, STDEV for standard deviation, min for minimum, quartile, and I want the quartile.exe. You put in your data range, and then a 1 if you want the mean. If you put a 2, it would give, or 1 would give you the first quartile. A 2 would actually give you the median. You're 2/4 of the way through the data, which is halfway through the data, which is the same as the median. And a 3 at the end gives you the third quartile. And then max will give you the maximum. So pretty straightforward kinds of things there, I think. I want the EXE one. The difference between the EXE and the INC, the EXE excludes the median. If the median is an actual number, if you have an odd number of numbers in your list, when you do the EXE one, it excludes the median when it looks at finding the bottom half and the top half to do the quartiles. The INC includes the median with those halves, and it shifts the value off by 1 or 2. There's some debate in the statistics world about which one is better, so it's nice to see that they're both there. I use the EXC because that's the most common. That seems to be the one that the TI calculator uses. I'm pretty sure that's the one that the WebAssign, or not WebAssign, that your homework is expecting you to use, and that's the one I'm going to expect you to use on any exams as well. So that's that. All right. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, be sure to ask away. All right, this is a follow-up to my last video, or hopefully I can patch these two together. We'll see about my video editing skills. I also forgot there is another way to find the descriptive statistics in Excel. It's a little bit, maybe it's somewhat easier, I don't know. But under the data analysis, the data tab, you should have this data analysis thing here. Again, that's an add-in that's not always turned on, but once you turn it on, it should stay on. Quickly again, how to do that. It's under File, Options. Under the File menu, you want to go under Options, and then down here in Add-ins, and manage your Excel add-ins along the bottom row. You should manage your Excel add-ins, and it's these two analysis tool pack things. Once those are turned on, this data analysis thing shows up here. And one of the options that you have in there is a descriptive statistics in there. And so what you can do then is you can select your data, and since I've got it here grouped by columns, I think I can just grab all this. And I'm pretty sure it's going to ignore all the unknown ones. So there's my data. It is grouped by columns. Labels are in the first row. I did grab that labels. I got the first row. Yeah, I got the D1 one, so I did get that first one. And you ask for the summary statistics, and then you can ask if you wanted a new thing. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to go back up here. And let me jump back to my sheet here. And I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to place it here. Is where I want my descriptive statistics to end up. Summary statistics is that's what I want. And say OK. And it will come up there, and it will give you, for your 20s, it'll tell you the mean, the standard error, which is a little bit different than the standard deviation. You got the median. Median agrees with what we had over there. This will give you the mode, and there's your standard deviation, is the 36.0388 in there. So standard deviation shows up. Let me make these a little bit bigger things. So it's giving a couple of other things, but it's not giving us the quartiles. It'll give us the minimum, the maximum. It'll tell you the range, how many data points you have, all sorts of really good stuff. But it does not give you the Q1 and Q3. So it's there. It's a little bit faster, especially when you have it sorted out like this, like we sorted ours here, to give you those values, but it's not giving us the quartiles, unfortunately. So just another option that's there. If you're really just looking for the mean or the standard deviation, it shows up there. But there's the mean of 107. There's the standard deviation. The sample variance, that was, I think you might have talked about that when we talked about standard deviation. That should be the square of the standard deviation, if I remember correctly, but that doesn't seem right. 36 squared is more than, is less than 12, isn't it? 36 times 36. Maybe I'm right. Grab my calculator here. Oh yeah, no, that's about right. Yeah, 36 squared will give you the sample variance. The sample variance is just the square of your standard deviation in there. Kurtosis and skewedness are measures of kind of how well it fits to a normal distribution, and skewness is they've come up with a way of measuring how skewed your data is in there. I think I don't really remember those numbers from my days in stats. It's been a long time, but that's what those are. It's not something I'm going to ask you about here in Math 256, but those are numbers that it throws up as well. Okay. Oop, wrong button.